And here we have the last print item in this examination. I do hope you have enjoyed us digging into our archives. And if you would consider supporting, it takes quite a lot of work to maintain these documents in such pristine condition. Just absolutely unbelievable what we've been able to achieve here at the Institute. And this is one of my personal favorites.
We got Johnny Thunder.
That's right. And he is really, in hindsight, credited as being one of the very first information what they call him back then? Information conservationists. That's right. That's what they called themselves back then.
I thought he was he's one of my heroes of all time.
That's right.
Kind of what got me into this sort of going out and exploring and finding old relics of our past.
Yeah, so one of the big things here was the crystal, and I think this particular red-hued crystal they called a ruby. And believe it or not, these factions, they didn't strive for this crystal for its economic or energy-producing capability, but actually its aesthetic desire was what gave it value. So very, very interesting time.
And one of the amazing things about while they're after this ruby is that they learned that a myth of old, like one of the oldest myths is that of like mummies' curses was not a myth.
Right. That is true.
We have certainly run into our fair share.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a lot of debate about that. But let me tell you, from someone who has been there in the field, there's something to those stories.
Yeah, your tale just finally went away last week.
Right. And over here we have the insectoids. And actually, believe it or not, it was hush-hush at the time, but insectoid technology was actually used in the first space travel to Mars.
That is true. Most people actually still don't know this, but it is very well known amongst us historians, especially those of us like us two who are very much into alien technology and looking at their influence on our history.
That's right. Yep. And here we have a slightly different take on the Aquazone factions. Here they are, I believe, hydronauts and stingrays are what they call themselves.
I believe one of your ancestors was a hydronaut that you said earlier.
Aqua Raider, first-gen Aqua Raider.
Aqua Raider.
Very similar, both using that green canopy. Something to do with their imaging system. They would, I think it was a scatter scan of laser, and that green tint apparently picked it up. Different than sonar technology, but still debate on the exact reason of the green tinted canopies.
Interesting. And then down to another interesting era of history of the ninja, one of the early predecessors of one of the longest running martial arts groups that have been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yes, that's right. And I believe it's called Spinjitzu. Now there's some debate as to if this ninja series predated Spinjitzu. But it's most commonly accepted that this is Spinjitzu. It's not different enough to be classified as something else.
Yeah. And interesting enough, one of my ancestors was part of the Green Clan, which I do not believe we see in this depiction.
Yeah. This depiction does not have the Green Clan. It's a very, very classic depiction with the blue and red clans. So if we will give me a hand here, we will flip this over. Okay. And here we have an interesting series. Here is the Rescue. That's right.
So as we know, that going out and saving, we have. As you know, nowadays we have to deal with some terrible storms and weathers, planet wide.
Right, and I believe this was an early time where they didn't have the household bunkers. And so, and what you would have is with their infrastructure just wasn't set up to handle the kind of, um, um, what they call them, not the dust storms, not the
Well, I think that back then they were hurricanes, but much less.
hurricane. Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, we have them nowadays, but nowadays they, take over half the planet.
Right, right. I think we call them giga typhoons was what they called them right after this. But anyway, yeah, hurricanes is what they called them back then. Just amazingly devastating to the infrastructure of the time because they didn't build it to withstand such energy bursts from the atmosphere.
Yeah. We move over to one of the short-lived but amazing times of extreme sports over here.
Right, and this was before the legalization of recreational adrenaline pills, and believe it or not, people actually go out there and do dangerous things to get their adrenaline.
Fortunately, we have no problem with that.
Right. It's something that at this time, I believe it was something like 99% of minifigures had office jobs, and it was damaging to the psyche, and they get out there and connect with danger and fully engaging the mind and body in these endeavors. But
I think they're real heroes.
oh, absolutely, pioneers in their field, absolutely.
And then, as we see here, and this is one of those examples of myths that almost cannot. I think, in my opinion, almost cannot be true. It has to be 100% pure story where these weird people would like somehow be able to control our vehicles.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. One of those stories that is way down the rabbit hole. But yeah, it's something we don't know much about. Just not much known about these. Much less print material, much less artifacts. So maybe out there, some of you private collectors, you'll have some, even more information than we have here at the Institute. And you could get in contact with us and we could take a look at what you've got.
And then if we look over here, we see our, a time of when they were genetically modified, figures to be much bigger and use them for things like, some more extreme sports and stuff like that. Not only making them look different, like taller and extra joints, but also added robotic implants to them.
Right, and now I believe this was a controversial defense program that was later banned because you don't see these extraordinarily tall and athletic people anymore. Giants of the past, so to speak. Yeah. So, thank you for joining us in this document examination. I hope you have enjoyed it, and this is just a special treat. Once again, I'm going to highlight it here, the Adventurers, Information Conservationists, that's right. Got a statue of Johnny Sender and several members of his team at the Institute here. So, just an absolute treat to get to examine these documents.